Hurricane Chris is adding some further reasoning why he decided to call out 50 Cent as he begins his production studio in Shreveport, Louisiana. Chris told a news outlet KSLA, first off, let me start by saying I don't have any disdain for 50 Cent and the Human and Harmony Festival. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad 50 came to Shreveport. But where 50 went wrong is when he came to Shreveport and said it was no longer going to be a ratchet city anymore. Chris said, if anybody know anything about Shreveport's history, you know we call ourselves the Ratchet City. We had an artist that passed away by the name of Ratchet Life, and he had the city in his hands. So it's great disrespect for you to come into the city and say, we ain't going to be the Ratchet City no more. Chris said you can't go to New York and say this ain't the Big Apple. You couldn't go to New Orleans and say we ain't the Big Easy. You couldn't go to Dallas and say we're not D-Town anymore. I just want to sit down with 50 and hopefully have a conversation and let him know that the word that he was downplaying is more than just a word. It's actually our culture and something that we have grown proud of. And I think that people that 50 is around may not be leading him into the right direction and knowing our culture. I'm willing to work with him. I think it's a big misunderstanding. And we actually just sit down. Maybe I could talk to Chris. Said it wasn't about him. His son had a football game that day anyway and couldn't perform. Shreveport Festival weekend. Let me know your thoughts as Chris tries to clear the air with 50 Cent and offers a peace treaty if the two can sit down and get on the same page about Shreveport. I've had the opportunity over the last week or two to meet some really good people from Shreveport via the direct messages, and these people are talking to me and showing me the passion that they have for their city. If Chris shares that passion or anywhere near it, I get it. I do believe, though, oftentimes your first impression is your last impression. And I don't know with the history of 50 Cent, if he'd be willing to have those conversations with Hurricane Chris after how everything began. Now, 50's also a businessman. So if he knows he's going to be in Shreveport, do Human and Harmony festivals for years to come, just be an active part in business and life in Shreveport, since he's already invested so much per some of my previous videos that have even been posted on 50 Cent's Instagram account. You know what he's got going in Shreveport and where his direction is heading, thanks to me. With that being said, 50 may want to sit down with Chris because he may not want that tension up in the sky. He may be looking to have the best possible relationship with Shreveport, which may include one of their bigger talents to come and make it out of that city in quite some time. It all depends on where 50 Cent's mind's at with it. I don't like this because one of the things I said in the previous video was there is going to be a day where 50 Cent does some type of content catered to the very unique style of Louisiana, maybe even specifically Shreveport. And I just don't want Hurricane Chris to be left out of the fold because of a couple comments made during a weekend that was to uplift the city, to bring money to the city, to start the beginning of what's going to be something special with 50 in his production studio. Again, it really is, though, going to come down to how 50 Cent is feeling about Hurricane Chris, because I think 50 feels like he didn't get enough media coverage. He invested $500,000 into security to make sure that Humor and Harmony Festival weekend was safe. There were no reported crimes. And he feels like he didn't get enough communication. The news outlets ain't did enough coverage nationally about how successful his weekend was. And if it would have been a bad weekend, if a lot of crimes would have happened, had he not invested that type of revenue in security, it would have got more coverage. But obviously negative outweighs positive a lot in today's time. I think that's kind of where 50's at. And he's like, yo, while I'm trying to promote the positive image, I got one dude starting a negative image of my weekend that's kicking off my festival. So I don't know where 50's mind's going to be at with it. We'll see. Time will tell. Speaking of time, I want to thank y'all for that. The love and support is what your boy never take for granted. Let me know your thoughts. Should 50 Cent be open to a sit down with Hurricane Chris after Chris initially, came out of the gate firing at 50 for the weekend and not having enough Shreveport acts on the build? I'm out. All right, y'all. The NFL season is here. Head over to Underdog Fantasy. Use my promo code Ferro. You can already make your picks for the entire season. Here are some guys that I believe are going to have great years. If your picks are correct, You're going to win a lot of cheese. Use my promo code Ferro. Tell me when you did it. I might even give you a free copy of Madden 25 or NCAA College Football 25.